Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am Eric, and this is Gary. Today we are smoking the Daughters of the Wind cigar from Casdagli. We're talking about some of our favorite Stephen King book and movie moments, that first time we saw a nudie pic, and some of our most embarrassing moments in front of the opposite sex. All that and more on Cedar Culture.
Kick back and relax, it's time to shoot the shit. Hanging out with the broskies, Gary and Eric. Let the ash go long and the convo stay pure. That's Cedar Culture. That's Cedar Culture. That's Cedar Culture.
Let's bundle these leaves and burn them and suck on them.
Dude, so I actually... I didn't get a lighter. Oh, you got lighter and cutter. Cool. Dude, I guess what I just discovered the other day, which is kind of insane to me. So apparently, like, THC, like in the weed that you smoke, that we're all like kind of familiar with, is like Delta 9 something or another. Mm-hmm. And like all along, there's been this other Delta 8 thing that's never really been researched or anything like that. And then since it wasn't really researched, it was never really legislated. And so now I just like I got an ad for Delta 8 gummies, and I according to their claims and according to the research, it was like, hey, like it's not going to get you as high as like Delta 9 regular weed, but like this ain't no CBD, like it's weed. I bought gummies online. It's completely legal everywhere, and it's only been in like the last year that they've kind of discovered this and been doing it, but I took them and it blew my mind. It worked. The only thing is because it said it was gonna, like, I read that it was weaker, so I took 8 times the recommended dose on the first time by accident, because I thought a gummy was a dose, so I meant to take 4 times the dose, but it was a half a gummy as a dose. It was good. It did its thing. Kind of wild, man. Blew my mind,
What
though.
state did they come from, do you know?
I actually don't
Besides
know.
the state of intoxication.
I know. Yeah, that's not where they came from. That's where they went to.
That's where they led you.
But I just thought that
I
was
just
so,
wonder what
I mean,
what
it's so
state-
wild that like there's been all this stuff in general right here in Jersey. We just got legal weed, and like there's been this thing we've been waiting for it all along. You've been able to buy it online the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, insane.
I'm just
It's
curious
kinda
who's
wild.
like ballsy enough to,
Be the one to sell it.
yeah. Ooh, that was a
Dude.
really nice dry draw.
Well, I just stopped in a shop the other day, and they sell it. Like not a dispensary,
Like a smoke shop.
like a vape shop. Yeah, they're selling the gummies.
I wonder why only in the gummy form at this point.
Might not be. I don't know. The weird thing is that smoke shop had flower. It looked like weed, like big buds of weed. That's CBD. And I said to the guy,
I've seen that.
I've never seen it, but I said to the guy. The funny thing is, right now, mind you, this is a guy working at a smoke shop, right? And so I said to him, I'm like, oh, I've never seen CBD flower before. That's interesting. He's like, yeah, like it comes from the same plant. I'm like,
Dude, you and doctors, you and weed distributors.
oh,
I
dude,
don't know.
Me and Lynn from Cooper, they're client relations. We've been having a good time. I'm on good terms with Cooper now. On good terms with Cooper. Their client relations liaison has been very helpful and very polite.
Wow, very cool.
Yes. But my ankle or my heel is worse, but whatever.
Have you been doing said stretches?
Well, get this. So we talked about last time. No, I stopped because it was like making it worse. So, but
You got that cool thing for your standing up computer, the ball roller.
yeah, and I just haven't been standing as much either.
I want to get one of those. Do they make them? Can I use it when I sit, like at my desk? I know sitting's the new smoking, but smoking's
but
the
here's
new
the
what
thing
I
that's
love.
interesting. So with all this pain I've been having, I started doing some research, and all of a sudden, like you said, like everybody's been saying, sitting is the new smoking. If you read podiatrist blogs, they would say standing is the new smoking now because of the overcorrection. People are standing all day, and it did dawn on me.
I would say it's got to mess you with your spine.
Well, your feet, just your feet and your knees and stuff. And so interestingly enough, I was talking to one of my friends today on the phone, and he said, he got a standing desk, and he said after like 2 weeks, his knees and his ankles were messed, and then he stopped using a standing desk, and 2 weeks later they were fine.
Here's my question. You can't be standing and sitting can't both be the new smoking.
Well, so the good thing is my standing desk you can pre-program heights into it.
Okay.
And so I programmed 1 for standing, 2 for sitting. So every hour just switch. But so we were last time I talked to you about like all the walking we're doing and stuff. and we were like kind of hypothesizing. I think maybe I said something like, I wonder about the shoes. Like, I wonder if they're the walking shoes. One of us had said
I
it
had
first.
said just being a heavy dude, like it's one of those things where you don't want to spend money on it, but man,
Well, no, get
foot
this,
up,
dude.
ground up.
So I went and did the research, and running shoes are good for it was like 300 to 500 miles. That's the recommendation.
Oh yeah, we talked about like track team kids. And
Right.
Yeah, you have
no,
to.
but so then I went in my Apple Watch app on the phone, and I've probably put they grouped by month, so I kind of added the months of miles I walked, and this is just strictly my walking stuff, not like just wearing them around.
Right.
Was at like 600 and something miles,
So,
and then here's the other thing. So then I just hadn't done it. I went and looked under the shoe, and the outside of my shoes, like under the pinky toe. Some people are heel steppers, some are like toe steppers. I'm like a pinky toe stepper, and so
Do you roll out or roll in on your feet? Do you know? In your
that's
ankle?
supination. That's on the pinky.
Yeah,
So picture the pinky.
That's what I do. The same.
So then I went down to Roadrunner Sports where they do the whole fitting you out thing, and I should have expected it. I didn't. They start doing the whole thing. They're like, we're gonna try these soles on you, and what you don't know is they're fitting them to you, and therefore they're gonna be like $70, and you didn't even agree to this. But and I was like, you know what, like. She's taking her time. I'm going to let her earn her commission. And so she did everything. The shoes I left with are like nothing I've ever felt before.
Wow.
They are so perfect for my feet. Like when I got my last shoes that I wound up liking, for the first week or two, like my feet, they hurt when I was using them because I had to get used to them. I thought, turns out they're like 180 degrees out of phase, completely the wrong shoe for me.
And it probably just took time for your foot to like wear into a comfortable position.
Into a comfortable position, and then it took another however many months for everything to just start breaking down, my knees, and that I'm having all this trouble. So the shoe brand is called Hoka. It's a newer brand, Hoka. They're expensive, but what's cool is if you join their club, it's like $20 to join their Roadrunner Sports Club, or I think that's what it's called, Roadrunner. It's like $20 to join their club, but you get 10% off all purchases. And now that I know that I need new shoes every 400 miles, you'll earn that back instantly.
I actually want to see those because I was using Brooks for a long time on my long walks. Bigger guy, they have like, I forget, they have like cloud names.
This has a Meta Rocker.
Nimbus and whatever. What is it?
A Meta Rocker.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I know. I was actually going to tell you
You said it like I should know, and I was like, I don't know.
I was going to tell you that I did it on purpose because the woman working at the store, she's like, and it's got a Meta Rocker and blah blah. And I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, did you say a metal bar?
That's what I thought you said. I was like, it's probably not good.
But she looks at me and she goes, no, a Meta Rocker. And then she just keeps going. And like,
I don't work next to you. You know that, right?
No, but you know what it was, in my opinion. Like what I think it was is she doesn't know what it is, so she's trying to move past that. Like, yeah, big fancy word.
I was supposed to know
sounds
what this
fancy,
is to sell the
and then
shoe.
she wants to move past it. But what it does is it feels like something that's almost like the bottom of one of those rocking horses.
Okay.
Almost in the bottom of it, and it just feels like when it like forces you to be a heel stepper a little bit more, and it has me walking through. Now, what I did learn from her though is
toe stepper.
But that's fine. What I did learn from her is you're not supposed to change who you are. You're supposed to just get shoes that work to it.
I've heard that.
So I thought that since I'm stepping on the outside of my pinky toe, and I was like, that's bad. I was like, I should probably learn how to do it correctly. She said, no just get the right shoes.
Because that's what your body does naturally.
Yeah.
But I mean, my flip-flops, everything. But I was wearing Brooks for a long time. And because they make the ones that can correct you going in. They can like build that up a little bit so you can walk a little bit more even, but there's not really a technology to do that from the outside.
Okay.
So you have to get something called, or what she told me, a neutral arch or something like that.
Okay.
Which made sense. So I want to kind of see this because maybe there's something that's...
Maybe. It's basically, they have all their shoes, they were rated by comfort or support.
They do wides, do you know?
Yeah. I got wide. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you did, buddy.
Yeah. So... Yeah, all their shoes were by like neutral or comfort. I don't really know what that means, but she said after doing everything, she's like, the whole system. I had to do she recorded me on a treadmill, and I did a couple other feet test things. She's like, you had neutral shoes, you need comfort shoes, or vice versa. I forget. She's like, so you have like the exact opposite shoes.
You had not Meta Rocker, and it turns out survey says Meta Rocker.
I know. But dude, I loved the shoes, and I did one walk. Yeah, I'll have to show them to you.
And I want to.
We're smoking a cigar though.
That's right. We
lighter.
We are smoking the Daughters of the Wind by Casdagli, formerly known as Bespoke. That was the company's name before.
That was actually their name?
Yeah, Bespoke Cigars. Cool. I love the name Daughters of the Wind. I love the band. It looks like an old school cigar to me. It looks like something like they'd be smoking like The Godfather or something, and just
When I first
Roman
got,
guy on the back.
when I first got one of these, to be honest, I was very underwhelmed by the label. I thought it was gonna be a budget stick. I just didn't know anything
That's what's
about
funny.
it.
Like you know how we always talk about the ambiguity of brands. Take a look at the band. Do you see anything that talks about who they are, what they are, anything? I just see the Daughters of the Wind.
Yeah, no.
Like there's no
No way to recognize the brand
right.
itself.
Like how again how would you? How would
Yeah, I
you
don't
look?
know. But anyway, the band definitely didn't like stick out to me, which is interesting because it's just like buying craft beer. If you don't really know what you're looking for, you're gonna look for something that looks cool. So it's quite understated. However, this, as much as this is not my typical kind of go-to stick, this thing is, I don't know, it speaks to me in a special way.
It's got something.
There's something
it
very special
reminds
about
me
this cigar.
Of, what's that other one? God, it was one of our first episodes with the hand, with the Carl Jung stick.
Oh yeah.
That's what I get a lot of that. Why can't I think of it?
Archetype?
Archetype. Yep. Sage advice.
Sage advice. Yeah.
That's I get it without like. I did a dry draw, and with a closed foot, sometimes a dry draw you get like nothing because it's closed foot.
Pointless, yeah.
But
sometimes.
I got like sweet raisin, like almost like the tip of the wrapper was sweetened. Like it was crazy. I got like a sweet hint.
Interesting.
What do you any initial flavors coming off for you?
I feel like s'mores, toasted graham cracker, like that kind of stuff is what I'm getting out of it, which is not my normal profile. But I think maybe it's because it does have a little bit of that sweetness. I think it's I don't think it's a flavor tip. I think it's
No,
a
not at
natural
all.
sweetness.
Not at all. It is.
And maybe that's why I'm getting, instead of more just like what you'll describe sometimes as like a hay or whatever, maybe I'm calling it in this case more s'mores because it's almost like that toasted graham with the sweetness.
No, I got some nutties. I got some bread notes.
I got some nutties.
I got some nutties.
I got
but
some nutties.
Also back to this.
Got some nutties, got some buddies.
No, it's just and again, wouldn't be if you had this next to a dark stick, I'd 9 times out of 10 probably pick the dark stick just because I thought this was right. And this comes out of the factory where they do Atabey and Byron too, so it comes out of a high-end factory.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've had any of mine. Is it Atabey? I don't know. A Tabby?
Atabey. I just know expensive.
Yeah, I think I have a few of them that I won. I know I do. I don't think I smoked any of them. Definitely want to give them a shot. But did you hear? So we actually.
Good retrohale flavors too.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Good start.
It is a good start. So did you hear there was a conclusion with Dak? Last time I had asked you about Dak last time we spoke.
Dude.
So he's with
The
Dallas.
guarantee is insane.
Dude, it's 126 guaranteed. So it's 4 years.
I'm assuming he's going to get back to 100% then, or damn near.
Well,
close
that's
to it.
it's
that's
interesting.
scary, man. That's a
So,
lot of money to put on.
It is. I mean, that's good for
franchise.
both of us.
Yeah.
As fans of other NFC East teams. But yeah, Dak, 4 years, $40 million a year, $180 million, 126 of it guaranteed, which is great news. So basically, that means they're going to have a couple years to try to pull something off, and then their cap hit's going to be too terrible, and they're going to have to get rid of some of, I imagine you can't carry like a Gallup and a Murray Cooper and a CeeDee Lamb all on your roster. I wouldn't think.
And how long does the old lady from the Goonies, Bill Belichick, have left in his coaching career? Doesn't he kind of look like the old lady from the Goonies?
Bill Belichick? You threw me off at first because we're talking about. Wait, are you talking about? You're talking Bill Belichick, from New England. Okay, so we switched.
Oh God,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
totally
what I was like.
party.
Wait a second.
Wow.
I know. I thought I followed you, but then I questioned
No.
myself. Yeah, so we're on New England.
Luckily-
Bill Belichick.
luckily
He
you know
does
me.
kind of look like the Ma Fratelli.
Fratelli. My kids just watched the Goonies. It was cool seeing them
Did they
for
like
the first
it?
time. They did. The first part before they got to the adventure was tough because it's so dated. I haven't seen it in a while, but like the workout equipment, like Josh Brolin's, like
Yeah, so
it's
that's
just so
dated for sure. I mean, did you let them, or did they watch the whole
Watch the
statue?
whole- yeah, they watched that. Yes.
Yeah.
They watched the statue.
Did
'cause
they get a kick out of that?
They
or?
did. I think my daughter. Someone laughed because I think they say penis like in it a few
Okay.
times. So even Allie was like, "What are they talking about?"
Yeah.
Because we had both. We're like, "Oh, the Goonies would be perfect."
That's why
for
I
the
asked you. I
kids."
was like, that.
There's that, and there's a couple sexual innuendo stuff in the cave where I
There
was
just
like,
was in movies back then, always.
the 80s were way more liberal, like way more.
Yeah.
I remember seeing
I
topless
was
stuff with
talking
my
to a
dad and him
friend,
being like, "Don't tell my."
But what's
don't tell your
weird,
mom."
right? What's weird is it's almost like in today's day and age, especially with like a more liberal agenda, it's like raising these kids in a bubble. but at the same time, we're more open about sex. So like in a lot of ways, and so like that more that like hippie like free love thing. And so it is weird to me. It's like, well, if I'm super liberal, my kids can't say damn or fuck or curse because they have to live in this safe bubble.
Right.
But sex is everywhere. But
I was gonna say, like, my oldest son is 9. He got an iPhone for Christmas. He has access. He doesn't know it, but he can type in anything in the Google search bar. Anything that pops in his head.
There's parental controls, though.
I think there are, but
You should probably look and see if there are.
we'll get to that. You know what? And as much as I can control his phone, to be honest, like working in a school, seeing kids, like all an older kid on the bus has to do is be like, "Hey, buddy, look at this," on his phone.
Oh yeah.
So
and then
remember the first time like someone snuck a nudie mag in and like you saw, you saw it way before you should have. I think every guy saw their first nudie mag like way too early.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely. I mean, first nudie mag was probably middle school.
So you're talking what, like 5th grade?
12 and 14, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But like other stuff, like my friend's parents had like a VHS. I don't even know when we found that, but like that was early, like real early.
When you say VHS, it wasn't
Dude,
of them, was it?
All right, so I have to like be a little random with kind of who I refer, like, so somebody that I'm close with.
King of random, buddy.
No, I'm thinking I gotta be random.
Oh,
like,
I see what you're saying.
Who I refer to and how in the story. But
I gotcha.
So somebody that I'm close to, we were at their house for a party, and that person has a lot of means, and so they have a movie theater in their basement.
Okay.
Like a residential movie theater, not where it's got like 12 love seats, but not like or like but not like a 250 seating, but
still nice.
Big projector screen, really nice. That said person had, in addition to their movie theater, they also have sexual tastes that are outside the norm.
Okay.
It's just what they like, and it's what they're into, and it's what they do.
And they have the means, so...
So whatever. So let the parties begin. But at this one party, there's a lot of little kids there. And this person accidentally left a DVD sitting next to everything. And the kids found the cover, and it was literally called like Ass Blasters 18 or something like that.
After
and somebody goes up to my brother-in-law, and they were like, it wasn't his house, but he just happened to be kind of around, the first adult around, and one of these, like an 8-year-old is like, what's this? Like, oh shit.
And I don't know if you agree to this or not, but I think after Ass Blaster 16, it just got like redundant and,
yeah.
17 and 18 were unnecessary.
They really jumped to the shark at 15.
Come on. Ass Blaster. I love how they can do all this crazy stuff, but they can't get creative with names. No. It's like Ass Blasters 1 through 19. Reminds me of that scene in Clerks when the guy's ordering the incoming movies, and he's got to order like a kiddie title. And he's like, we need Come Dumpsters 3.
I remember it. Yeah. Speaking of, sexual experts, did you ever, I don't know why this, for some reason the OJ thing crossed my mind, or like OJ's trial, where were you when, like, and I remember being in 8th grade or 7th grade?
I was a freshman, so you were in 8th grade.
Yeah. No. What year did you graduate?
99.
Yeah, I graduated in 01.
Well, why do we always forget that?
We always mess it up. So
I was only a year apart in age.
I think something like that.
I was very intelligent.
I
was.
Shit, what was I saying? So, in
OJ,
7th grade science class, it just happened to be the class I was in when the verdict was being ruled, so they put it on the TV and you get to see it, whatever. But then, for some reason, it reminded me of what else I watched on that TV in 7th grade science, which was a baby being born.
The Joy of Life or something.
I don't know what it's called. I was going to did you watch, because you would have been in New York. Yeah, I wonder if you watched the same thing. Yeah. Like,
I remember being like a very...
gross.
Graphic.
Were you in the room for your kids?
Yeah.
Were they...
I delivered, like I cut the umbilical cord all but Marshall because he was an emergency C-section.
Stuff, yeah.
I was like, hey doc, while you're in the middle of everything, can I do it? But dude, it's weird. Like it's crazy. And seeing your own kid be born.
You see it like coming out?
Yes. So Allie was in labor for a while with our first. And like you're like, oh, I'm in the hospital. So it's gonna be everything's gonna be clean and it's gonna be like they do this all the time, it's regimented. The nurse was like, so I'm there, it's like we're like a day and a half in. Your wife can eat, like it's on the bill for the copay, but like me being a cheap bastard, I was like, just order 2 sandwiches and I'll eat from you. So like I wasn't really eating a whole lot. So she's not getting any further along. So my brother comes to, he texts me, he's like, hey man, I'm like driving past the hospital. I was like, oh, we got like another few hours at least. I was like, why don't you meet me? We'll go down and grab a sandwich. As soon as I leave, she goes into labor. So like my mother-in-law calls me, everyone calls me, gotta get back up. So I gotta throw all the stuff back in, I'm back in the room. And they're like, the baby's coming, but she hasn't dilated enough. So I'm like, oh, they must have an apparatus, like something. They're gonna pull out something. They literally pull out olive oil. And start pouring it in, like, yeah.
Like,
it was
as
crazy.
lube,
like food.
basically.
Right, olive oil. And I was like, where did that come? Like, you have a, like, was that from the lunch cart? Like, what is that? And yeah, then and literally you just,
I learned it, yeah.
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen live. And the worst part, I am practicing my Stone Van Damme face because my wife is where you are, like looking at me,
yeah,
and I'm watching just destruction down below. And I am stone faced. I'm like, baby, doing great. Everything looks great. And anytime something happens, the nurse and doctor will go, that's normal. That's normal. She's like, what? Like, you know?
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm trying to stay strong for her, and they're fucking it up.
I'm surprised you didn't like take the opportunity to be Gary, right? Like she's like, what's wrong? You're like, nothing. It's just got hooves. No.
I did. You know, my humor comes out in very odd ways. Did I tell you? Like when I get nervous. Like funerals, I'm inappropriate just because like it's the way my brain processes pain or discomfort.
Yeah.
I want everyone to be like laughing and smiling. So for Marshall, for our third, he was an emergency C-section. So when something happens like out of the norm, the wife, if time allows, has to meet with a social worker. Okay. To make sure like your husband's not neglecting you or you're not in danger, like to anything.
Just with
I guess for our situation, he was coming early and Allie was bleeding. They wanted to make sure she wasn't being abused. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's funny, like, that's the first thing that happened. We're, like, coming in, like, it's like 3 in, Allie's bleeding. I'm like, let's figure this out. So, I don't know what, just to kind of break the tension. And it could have went really funny or could have been the worst thing I ever did. So the social worker's like, Mr. Oskowski, do you mind stepping outside while we talk to your wife? I'm like, yeah. So it's the doctor, the social worker, and Allie. I guess just seeing her nervous, like I would take a few steps and I'm like, if you fucking say anything, I'll kill you. And Allie starts like losing her mind laughing. So the social worker's like, okay, I guess we're okay.
Yeah, oh my God, that's
she's
funny.
like afterwards, she was like, I can't believe, like, she's like, what if they were like, they had to detain you and now I'm in emergency surgery.
Oh my God.
But I was like, I can't shut that part of like, I have to break the tension.
Yeah.
Because like I'm going to wait outside while they're interviewing my going into labor early wife, like bleeding. I was like, what's going on?
It's like when I was in high school, the cops rolled up on me and my girlfriend having sex in the back of a Jeep Wrangler with the top down. And when they came...
so did you.
Yeah, that's what really set me off. When they came, you know, they take her, they separate us. And the cop he's like, I gotta ask you. He's like, is she holding you here against your will or anything?
To you?
To me. I'm sure the other cop was asking her the same thing. But
I'd be like, yes, I'm
yeah.
scared.
Oh, like, didn't you see? She was clearly pinning me down. She was on top.
I couldn't.
There's nothing I could do.
In the Wrangler, there's not a lot of moving space, you know? Dude, a Jeep Wrangler, I don't think I could do anything in the back of a Jeep Wrangler now. But I couldn't go get a blanket.
No,
in the
you
back.
Definitely couldn't. But yeah, a bright yellow Jeep Wrangler with the top down in the middle of a field. The cop was like, dude, he's like, you've got a bright yellow car. He's like, it's like the sun in the middle of a field, like the middle of a dark field, and then yellow.
Why is that sun pulsating?
Like, and it was literally the color of the Jeep was solar yellow.
That's crazy. Oh, dude, that's a great color.
Yeah.
So speaking of top-down Jeeps.
Top down. What's that? Top down, windows up. That's the way. Or top down, ass up. I forget.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. So
I leave work. I look at my watch, which has the temp on it. I'm like, 73 degrees. I was like, when's the last time I left work? 73 degrees. And I usually have if I'm not listening to talk radio, I have my iPod on just shuffle. So whatever 10,000 songs I've accumulated over my life, just on shuffle. I start the car. The last song's finishing. I'm about to turn on, a major highway, 73, and kind of head home. And I got the music up, the windows down, and Back in the High Life from Steve Winwood came on. And it was just one of those perfectly matched temperature to driving experience to music. ratio that I've had in a long time. Just because it's cold, it's been cold. And
Mine was that today or
on the way home today.
Mine. I have one of those every year, and mine was yesterday.
We had that yesterday and today, dude. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
For the first nice few days, though.
That's what I mean. Like, and so I ran a few errands, and then at one point I actually got home, pulled into my into my driveway from running my errands, and I was like, no, this moment can't be over. So I like made up another errand for myself, and then went out and bought more shit.
Days, man.
What
was the song? Like, did it just a collection of
just
songs?
in general, yeah, collection of songs. Although one of them that did come on was a Sublime song, and so that's generally something from Sublime is in the mix this time of year. But yeah, same exact thing, man. And it's just cruising around, and even today, like I went outside and I was like spraying some weed killer and just kind of open.
I saw a spider outside.
I saw a spider.
Bug.
I saw a spider this morning too, and actually had the same thought. And then got the blower out, blowing off the patio and the driveway, just kind of getting ready for that. It's for cigar weather. It's cigar season, bud. Like we're here. I'm in shorts, t-shirt, and flip flops right now in New Jersey.
I was gonna say you are like in heaven because that's your uniform.
That's my uniform, 100%.
And dude, I want to congratulate you. You made it through your first winter as a cigar lover because it is a brutal few months.
I limped through it.
I mean, we're gonna. This is a tease. We're gonna have some 50 and 40s coming up.
Dude, 50s. Like,
no! When it was 40 the other day, I was 40s. Like, oh, we're starting to get there.
I lifted in the garage when it was 36 the other day because it's not bitter cold.
Right.
It's not
like crazy.
It's not that cold wind. Dude, I was out here in shorts and a long sleeve t-shirt lifting at 36 degrees yesterday morning.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. This stick. A couple reviews I saw, they said underwhelming, kind of left them flat.
Dude, Half Wheel gave it like an 85. That's why I don't trust bougie bitches, because this is good.
It is. And I saw you might have had a touch up only because I think you started your story and didn't take any
I think that's
puffs.
what happened. I think I fucked up.
But dude, this is the first time in a while I got a razor sharp burn on this thing.
I wouldn't call it razor sharp.
Mine's not razor, but dude, mine's
is pretty sharp. It's not like Liga sharp, but it's But you can tell it's one of the better burning sticks I've had in a long time. I would agree.
You can definitely tell this was produced somewhere, halfway decent. This wasn't just like thrown together in someone's backyard and sold.
What
Stay away from those.
So, did you watch, or did Allie watch, or you watch, or as a family you guys watched the whole what was it, the ex-Prince and Meghan Markle thing or whatever?
I don't think she's had time, and I didn't. When we scroll onto, the smart TV and it says like what's new, what's happening, like that showed up. To be honest, it's one of the things I'm least interested about.
Oh, me too.
I would rather hear more about. It just hasn't held my interest. I don't think my wife has seen it.
It doesn't. It's not interesting to me too either. And in fact, I remember being very young and seeing like not my parents wouldn't give a shit, but like a friend's mom getting up early for like the royal wedding or something like that, and like it's just one of those things. And millions and millions and millions of Americans did, but yeah, I never quite got it either.
We fought to leave that country.
That would be like, honestly, what it is the royal family is the Kardashians. It's a reality show family. That's like all it is at this point. But which I guess that then explains.
I guess it's the highest paid.
I know, but I guess that does explain why Americans are into it, because I'm sure Brits are into the Kardashians, like keeping up with the Kardashians. So that makes sense. But I heard this one thing. So I didn't watch any of it, but you hear little blurbs, and some of it's sad, right? Like I guess Meghan, while pregnant, wanted to commit suicide.
That I did hear that clip on
specifically
the news.
While pregnant, because she didn't want to bring a kid into the royal family because they were so racist and all this stuff, which is terrible. I don't know any details, but it made me kind of Google a little bit to try to learn a little bit. And the one thing that I found incredibly frustratingly interesting, I'll say. Apparently, who is it? Prince? Is it Harry or Bob? Like with the other one, I forget.
The older brother,
David or Harry?
William. William. Harry's the one that just left. William is the older brother.
Okay, so
right?
Harry's the one that I don't know. Anyway, whatever.
Yes,
I guess
believe
so.
It's William and Harry.
The one that looks like Carson Wentz and the reality TV star. Those two are the ones that got married. And when they decided to leave the royal family, there's obviously a statement that goes out or whatever, and it is something to the effect of relinquishing our royal duties, blah, 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 and we will work to earn our own income, is what it said. It was like, we will work to not depend on them for money or whatever. Can you imagine being in a scenario where you get to go to your whole family and be like, hey, you're all a bunch of racist fucks. I hate all of you. I'm taking my kids, I'm taking my wife, and we're going to go spend half our time in America. Fuck you. We are not in the world. But I need those checks to keep coming for a little while I make some money. Can you imagine having that? So the question I wanted to get, I don't really give a fuck about the royal family either. We can stop talking about that now.
But did you see they had their guards go with them for like a short amount of time?
No,
or they had to kind of say, this was months ago when they were first leaving and they weren't officially gone. Like, I think they were in Canada halftime and the U.S. halftime. I guess because Canada's a province of the...
I don't know. I thought it was England and here half and half.
Whatever it was. But they had like Mounties, whatever the Canadian... this is what I've heard. Yeah. Like helping to make sure they were safe, like doing security.
I'm sure because there was probably an awkward transition.
Imagine being like, "Fuck you guys," but I need all the protection.
Well, and some of it I would understand, right? Just like if the president's kid says, "Fuck you, I don't want to be the president's kid anymore." Guess what? The Secret Service is still going to follow that kid around and keep him safe. So like I get that.
Okay, that makes sense.
But
That's
like, but again. I don't even want to talk about the royal family anymore. It's the setup for the question, really, for you would be like, can you imagine having that kind of wealth where you're like, you get to do that, you get to live like that, and then you get to say like, oh, by the way, keep those $1 million checks coming. So the question actually to you is like, if you could be born again and have a choice, have a say in the matter, would you want to be that rich?
Would I understand what it would be like to not be rich? Like, do I have the
forethought? No, you're being born again. And so all you know now is when you make the decision is that like in your mind you're making the right decision, but then boom, you're gone, you're back there and you don't know about it.
Oh man. I think my answer would have changed before I was a dad. I'd be like, oh dude, 100%. Like I'm in because I just easy life. But like seeing like teaching kids about their work ethic and like having my kind of half-assed shitty work ethic, but trying to be better for them.
Right.
Like it doesn't serve them well to kind of just go through. And I've just seen too many. Like,
but again,
those kid actors.
You'd be an infant newborn in this scenario.
Oh, I know. So, right, like I said. So I think my answer, like if I was a single dude, like 100%, I'd be like, oh, I don't care. But now that like I've had this life experience where I brought lives in the world and like you see how wrong it can go in the best of intentions, it's kind of like I've never seen.
But wouldn't having money help prevent that?
Yes, but wouldn't it? Wouldn't it have been there? There wouldn't be like crazy Macaulay Culkins and Justin Biebers.
Maybe they're rich assholes. Maybe you'd be a rich good guy.
That's true. If I could but you don't know. Because I'd be born that kid that's like expects everything.
What keeps you up at night now?
Like fear-wise?
Yeah, like if there's, or I'll say if you had one wish, and let's assume you're going to use that wish to like increase your quality of life. In some meaningful way.
Yeah,
like, what's the one thing?
Yeah, money's what makes it happen.
So?
But if I had a wish.
So why not wake up rich tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't know. So if I could have one wish, if you were like, you can have all the money, in the world, but you don't know what your future's going to look like, or you're going to live to a decent age and watch your kids like grow off and everyone will be safe, like I would choose that over money. Again, just because of where I am in life.
Right.
Because if you ask me like what keeps me up at night, it's
See, that would be like, 2 wishes. And if this was like a horror movie, you would wish for a long life and then everybody around you would have terrible lives and you'd be stuck living the forever long life, witnessing nothing but shit around you. Because again, it's only one wish.
That's fine. And that's like almost like the Green Mile, where like the dude has some of that long-lasting serum in him, and he has to watch. Like his penance is like watching his friends and family like go and outliving all them. Like that's got to be
in
tough.
Green Mile.
Yeah, remember when the Tom Hanks's character when he gets older, like he's in the retirement home, and he's like, my burden is like. The character had to give him some of his immortalness
to get over
to be able to see the truth about his murder and stuff.
It's so funny because
have you seen that in a while?
I've probably only seen the ending of Green Mile like once or like twice, right? It's like it's one of those movies. It's like 2.5, 3 hours long, and then when it's on TV and commercials and stuff, right? Like it's a 4-hour window. So it's like the first 20 minutes I've seen like once, and the last 20 minutes I've seen once because you never find it in the beginning, and you never make it all the way through.
Can I brag that this is the only
you were Michael Clark Duncan or whatever?
It was the first time I ever read a book before a movie. Like I read the book on a flight, and it was so good.
Was the movie out? Did you were you reading it because you knew you wanted to watch the movie, or?
It must have been out, and I didn't see it in the theaters, and I knew I would catch it on DVD.
Was that like a normal Stephen King book, like 1,000 pages long.
It was long, but it came out like he did it like he did his old school books, where he would do like a chapter, like before the whole book came out. He would do like a chapter and mail them to like fans and stuff. I think. But I got a copy. I got it in the airport. I had a weird layover. I was going to see my buddy. I bought a copy of the Green Mile book.
Was it
in
the
the
full
airport.
book?
The full book.
Oh, okay.
But I remember it seeing in like the liner notes, like, oh, Stephen King wrote this a chapter at a time or 2 chapters at a time.
Right.
But it was one of those books, like, you know the part in the movie where the dude kills the mouse in front of the guy about to go die? Mm-hmm. And that was like his one thing. And he's like, oh, the mouse will live a good life and it'll go to Mouseville or whatever.
The guy from Evening Shade.
Yes.
I don't know his name. But.
The way Stephen King writes that, when he stomps on that mouse, I literally remember jumping.
Really?
In my plane seat.
Because when I read it, the way that boy was sucking Henry Bauer's dick, he wrote that really like viscerally too. Did you know that? Did you like?
I've never seen it and I didn't read it either.
Oh, you've never seen the movie?
No.
All right, so you know the premise.
Oh yeah.
Right. This is not in the movie at all, but in the book, like there's like, so I watched the movie first. It was on ABC. It was like this, long miniseries. It was great. Dude, so the whole thing is there's I think it's 3 of them. They're like kind of like greaser types, like with the switchblade, I'll cut you type, like greaser bully types. And one of the greaser bullies sucks the main greaser bully's dick in the book. Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Interesting.
Yeah, dude.
See why they left it out.
Dude, I read the book at like 9 years old.
What?
Like I didn't even get it all the way through. It was like 1,000 pages.
Yeah.
But the thing is, so it was an ABC horror movie series. I watched it, loved it, and one of my mom's coworkers was like, I got the book, like, which is a cool move, right? To try to get a kid into reading and all that stuff. It makes sense. I don't know if he didn't remember that part. Wow. I had pretty like loose like parents anyway with that kind of stuff. But
was it in the remake? That wasn't in like the remake either, right?
No, no, and the remake was terrible.
Was it?
Of the movie? Oh my god, that was such. I would say
it was like it was amped up and it was like really. That was supposed to be huge.
I would say the original It is one of the most perfect horror movies, and I feel confident saying that because there's a whole generation of people who are still afraid of clowns today.
Oh, 100%.
And it aired on network TV. So it managed to, on a rating scale that was safe for network TV, like scare generations away from clowns. And so that's got to be up there in terms of like perfect horror movies. And the way that, what's interesting is the generation before us will say the same thing about The Exorcist. So yeah. I've actually heard somebody, like, when you hear people that are like our parents' age, when they talk about The Exorcist and they talk about the girl sitting up in bed and throwing up, they talk about it being like such a, crazy thing in the movie at the time, which is, so then for us in the 90s, we were like, the pea soup that was shooting out of the rubber doll, but for them, right? And so the same for us, when we watched it as a kid, we loved it, but now kids today couldn't watch that and care. They have to watch the new beefed up CGI version. But for me, man, Tim Curry, did you remember that? Did you know that was Tim Curry?
Tim Curry.
I didn't know that until I was like, a bit older. But it's great, like one of the greatest horror movies of all time for sure. The original It. And it's wild to think how old I was when I watched it. I mean, that would be like you showing it to probably your 2 oldest kids now.
Right, and I'm just not a horror movie. Like I didn't like going on the rides where stuff jumped out at you. I don't know.
I like that, but I don't like roller coasters. Fuck roller coasters.
See, and I could do that. Like,
really?
I go on a roller coaster, before they closed down the Great American Scream Machine at Six Flags. Fuck, it was like the original, 6 or 7 loops. My brother and I, it had just started to rain, so there's no line. It was like the last year it was going to be running. We went 13 times in a row without getting off. To the point where I don't get motion sickness. Dude, my brain was
the most I ever did was that I liked was the Tower of Terror down at MGM or wherever it was back in the day. Where it falls like 13 stories. So that's like pretty, adventurous, I guess. But I can't do a roller coaster.
You know what's funny?
I'm just glad I'm old enough where when I say no to people to do roller coasters, like if they mock me, I'm like, yeah, fuck you. Like, who cares? You know what I mean?
Remember when
that's a rough childhood.
Oh yeah.
When you're afraid of roller coasters.
Well, and when you're afraid of scary, I hate, like, my friends would want to go, or like, a girl would want to go, and I'd have to be like, well, all right, I have 2 options. I can look like an idiot and stay outside, or I could freak the hell out inside.
I was really good at looking like an idiot in front of girls when I was a kid. Like,
I look like an idiot.
Really good. Yeah. Dude, there was this one time. All right, there's this girl in my neighborhood that I had a crush on. And there's, right next to our neighborhood, she lived like 2 blocks from me. And right a couple blocks from that, like right adjacent to our neighborhood, was this massive field called Savage Field. I don't know if you remember it. So
They had like concerts and stuff there.
did they? Do they? I knew they did like fireworks when I was a kid and that kind of stuff. And they had a carnival there once. And, we're doing the whole flirty thing. I'm in like 7th grade maybe, and we're running around and I'm chasing her. And she kind of runs through the carnival and like around this ride. And so I do the same thing, chasing her. When I turn it, I hit a muddy spot. Dude, and when I'm talking like in a mud puddle, like I'm like head to toe caked in mud.
Well, those carnivals, they'll have those, like, shit got dumped out. There's just puddles everywhere.
So then, and this is like deep into the fairgrounds, I had to walk through the whole fairgrounds, like 4 or 5 blocks back to my house, just covered in mud. And that's one of the most embarrassing things that can happen to a kid in front of a girl that he has a crush on.
Yeah.
That ensured Eric's first kiss was not for another couple years.
Poopy Pants Eric was born.
Oh my God. That was embarrassing.
So, I know facts are your thing, but it was one of these facts.
I shit the bed, so I'm glad you have one.
And it was weird because we have those Uncle John bathroom reader books. Those that are like a little bit about everything. You can open up and there's topics.
Never heard of Uncle John. Is that a series, Uncle John?
Uncle John's Bathroom Readers.
Oh.
Made by the Bathroom Reader Institute. I think they like made it up.
Of course.
But
that's kind of funny.
It is. It's great.
I bet Uncle John's a cool guy.
So at the bottom of every page, so not only is it filled with just the craziest stuff, stories, Elvis, ghosts, whatever,
cool.
It just touches on anything. There are quick reads, obviously, for bathroom stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
Before the phone. But there's a fact on the bottom of like most pages, so it's like cool just to rifle through and they have facts.
I wonder if he has an app now.
Ooh, Uncle John's bathroom facts.
That'd be cool.
So,
or sorry to cut you
No,
off,
no,
but an
you're good.
Alexa app. Imagine if you could be like, Alexa, tell Uncle John to tell me a fact.
she turned on. What?
I don't think she heard that part.
No.
Yeah.
The Pringles can was invented in 1966. The guy patented the idea. Do you know this one?
Yeah, but keep going.
Okay. The guy who patented it, that was like the idea to flatten the potato chips and they can come in a can and not a bag and they'll stay together better. Well, he was so proud of his invention, his request was to be buried in one.
Yeah.
So on the way to his funeral or on the way to pick up his remains, his kids had to stop at Walgreens and buy a thing of Pringles.
I didn't know that.
And so their big conundrum was,
What flavor?
What flavor do we get?
Oh, shit.
So they're going back and forth and finally...
Hold on, wait. So, all right. Should I try to guess it? Or
Try to guess it.
I'm trying to think. What flavor would you choose for yourself?
Probably just
Pringles.
Like they have a pizza flavor, don't they?
They do.
Yeah, I would do a pizza
flavor.
Yeah.
I think with Pringles, I'd go sour cream and onion.
That's a good one too.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No. So they're going back and forth, and finally, like literally, it got into like a discussion with the kids. The oldest son was like, "We have to do original because that's the one that Dad."
That's good. That's actually good. I'm glad they did.
Me too. Because imagine if it was like the flavor that like didn't last.
So the part I knew he was buried in, or I guess not buried, but his ashes were put in. But what I didn't know all that. What I assumed, and the funny thing is, the reason why I knew it is I actually just heard that a few weeks ago on the radio, a show I listened to, a guy does a fact, and said it. But when he said his remains were in there, my first thought was that it was going to be like a gold-plated, like a recreation.
At Walgreens.
That's crazy. That's really funny that they stopped at Walgreens. Yeah. So I guess now what they should have done is they should have gotten some of those short stacker ones so they could each. I mean, there's several kids who has the Pringles can.
You know what? That brings up a good point. If you were, have you ever thought about buried versus cremation? Like, is it something you think about?
It's definitely not something I've really had thought about, but for some reason I would lean towards burial. I think, although there's I don't know if it's certain cemeteries, but there's different things where you can do like I don't know, you could be like buried in a bag with a tree root and like turn into a tree.
I was just going to say they have that. They have a biodegradable. So my wife does not want to be buried. She just doesn't like the idea of being enclosed for eternity. She's like, I'd rather donate my body to science, and when you're done with it, do something. Like, she's like, that's just the way she is. She just has that heart and that.
Dude, I heard on the radio, so there's this guy that calls on the radio somewhat frequently, and he needs a kidney. And, like, nobody's a match. And, they keep finding people that volunteer, and his family are either not healthy enough or this or that, or whatever. So
That's
I
rough.
wrote the station, and he calls in a lot, and the basically the announcer, the main host, he gives out his email address. He's like, if anybody wants to get on the list,
Oh,
I
wow.
emailed him, and I'm like, hey man, like hook me up with the guy. Like if I'm a match, I'll do it. And a couple weeks,
Dude, look at you.
and he responds, and he's like, all right, I'll pass your info on. And like a month went by. I'm like, whatever happened to this? And like I emailed him back. I'm like, hey, I never heard from the guy. Like I want to give him a kidney. Like,
Dude, that's literally one of the most random, selfless things I've ever heard.
I just think it would be
giving a stranger-
cool.
Yeah, we're connected to someone. We have a friend that was on a transplant list. Again, couldn't find a donor, and a friend of a friend stepped up and like made the connection. I mean, it's one of the most selfless.
And they didn't know each other.
They did through like mutual friends
Yeah.
and work people, but
What was it? Was it a kidney or?
I believe it was a kidney.
Yeah.
Kidney or liver. I want to say kidney though.
Kidney,
Yeah,
can you
because
do
liver's
liver?
more. Yeah, kidney.
Yeah. I was gonna say, then the donor needs a kidney.
Right. Right.
Or a liver.
Or liver.
Yeah, I mean,
Or,
'cause
isn't
you
there
only get one
places
of
where
those.
yeah, but can't you do like some of it? I've heard in places
That's
they can
possible.
do partial transplants.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know enough about that at all. But anyway, I just I thought it would be cool, but I guess he doesn't. Well, actually, what I did is I emailed the host back, and I was like, "Hey, like, does that mean it's good news?" I was like,
Right.
fingers crossed. Like, did he find a donor? And he was like, "No, he didn't." And he's like, "I'll, remind him."
He looked you up and he was like, I don't know if I want any of that stuff in my. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll take the
He's
shitty one.
watched this podcast, and he's like, I don't know what he's put his liver through or kidneys through.
Any of
Over
the
the years.
organs, scary. Any flavor changes on your stick?
No, if anything, I would say it's mellowed a bit. How about you?
Mellowed, but I'm still getting that raisiny sweetness, here and there. Bready notes, nutty notes. I like it. You know what the taste I want to get out of it, and I haven't? I keep wanting to say leather, but there's literally no leather. I'm tasting like cedar.
Cedar's a good one.
I'm even getting, like,
Little
are you
licorice.
getting any, I don't even want to say harshness, but there's like a bitterness at least, almost.
No.
Like, I don't know if it's what I'm drinking. I almost get like a Sprite or a ginger ale or a little bitter, like that dryness of like ginger or
Speaking
something.
of what you're drinking, that must be a sign that I really love this stick because I have not taken very many sips of. That just reminded me I
Wow.
have a drink here.
But dude, I'm going to tell you, like, there's not many reviews of this stick that I see anyway. But a lot of people
No.
are like really underwhelming, whatever. I'm like, this is
No, I mean, I'm getting
not
like
that it's
fennel,
a flavor bomb, but
little
yeah,
fennel,
I taste
like
a lot of stuff in there.
nah. This is.
And
I wonder if
well
it's-
constructed.
I was gonna say I want to add this to our. We have like our beginner cigar recommendation quiz. This would be a fun one, with the exception of when I looked around today and it doesn't seem to be for sale anywhere. It's out. I don't know if it's out or they don't make it anymore. But I remember when. I don't know if I ever told you, but so I won like a special edition of these Daughter of the Winds. I did tell you when I won special edition Daughter of the Wind, COVID edition. I was so excited because I knew I liked the regular Daughter of the Wind, and when they came, it was through like a raffle, so they weren't in like a box or anything. It was like a $5 randomly in a bag. But I looked at them, and they were the band. I was like, these are regular. These aren't any special edition. So I was going to write them and be like, hey, I think you sent me the wrong ones. But I Googled it real quick. The only thing that was COVID edition about them was they ran out of material for the box because of some short supply. So it came in like a plain box instead of a fancy box. But the cigar itself, the band, is exactly the same. Not that I'm super disappointed because I loved it, so I got 5 more of them.
Right,
but I was
right.
really hoping for a special
Something
edition.
different.
But
The little bit of research I did on
can't
this.
find them, though. I couldn't find them today. I Googled.
So this brand has other, obviously, sticks similar, but this binder and filler is different when they did the Daughters of the Wind series. So
What do you mean?
liking this, so because
They're always going to be different, right?
right, I guess when they started in 2018, when these came out, it was like they were doing other sticks, and then they did this new blend, and this was like the new blend. But this stick makes me want to try their other stuff.
I do have one more of theirs actually.
A different than
so
this?
so from Blake Eric, I won one of his like sort of dealer's choice blind sampler type raffles,
Mm-hmm.
where you get a little bit of input if you win. And at the time, I had just had this and I loved it, so I was like, hey, if you have any Casdagli's, like
Right.
throw one of them in there other than Daughters of the Wind, so I could try it. It's still
Oh,
in my.
cool. I'm interested
still
to see what you got.
It's in Tupperware 3, I think.
Yeah, under C.
Yeah.
I will say, dude, I moved to the Tupper door too. It is. I have to organize mine more. Like where
It's gonna make
our
your
house
move
is crazy.
easier.
Oh yeah, 100%.
All right, bud. Feeling good. This is a great one.
I'm
Sun
loving
setting.
it.
Let's get this episode done so we can swing open that garage door and enjoy the rest of the sun being up in this nice weather.
I'm 100% in.
It's great. I'm glad you came a little early while it was still sunny out too. Another great episode as always, man. Love you, and everybody, as always, long ashes.
Stay smoky.
Thanks for checking out the Cedar Culture Podcast. If you'd like that episode, go ahead, tap, like, follow, subscribe, whatever it is on your platform of choice. And if you are on YouTube, hit that bell as well to be notified of new episodes. It really helps us out. We appreciate it.
And then don't forget to head over to Instagram and Facebook and follow us as well.
Do it.
Do it.